Gen W's Getting Personal series is our way of starting the money conversation, and you're invited. Join us and feel empowered. So I'm super excited that you're joining us today for Getting Personal. This is Medina, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. So first we're going to start talking about a little bit about your early years and learning about finance. So can you tell me about the first time where you started to actually learn and understand the concept of money?
I was so young. My mom came from Afghanistan as a widower. My father got killed in Afghanistan, so she came here with nothing as an immigrant, 5 kids. We all had to eat. And I just realized that she was never there. I'm like, where's my mom? And then I realized over time that she was working like 5, 6 different jobs.
This is here in the States?
This is in the States, in California, in the early 90s.
Okay.
So I finally asked her one day, I was like, what do you do and how much do you make? And she's like, don't ask me that.
And how old do you think you were around that time?
I think I was like 8 or 9 years old. And she said, I work here and then I do some side stuff here. And she was a businesswoman in Afghanistan, so it was really hard for her.
So your mom was an actual professional?
Yes.
And then she came here and had to do something totally different?
Totally different. And one time I found that and it broke my heart. After that, I learned the concept of money, that she was actually working at a restaurant. And till this day, it bothers me even like talking about it, but we're talking about finances, so I'm going to talk about it. She was making 90 cents an hour.
Wow.
When minimum wage outside was like $6-7 at that time.
And do you think that she knew what the concept of minimum wage, or she just accepted that because it was the only thing that she could get at the time?
That's the only thing she could get at that time.
And then how many of you guys were, like, how did she support you guys?
Like, she had 5, 6 different jobs at a time. And I knew at times I would always wonder, is she eating?
Right.
Because we were always eating. 5 kids. We were all like, AT&T bars lined up.
From little to the top.
Yeah. And one day, whether it was meat or veggies, she just put everything in front of us. And one day I asked her, I was like, did you eat? She's like, yes, but I knew she didn't eat.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart. At that time, I made a promise to myself. I was like, I'm going to take care of her.
That's awesome.
I've learned it through my mom, basically.
So something actually stuck out about what you said. You said one time you asked your mom how much she made and what she did, and she said that's none of your business.
Yeah.
So was money talk like a taboo in your family? Did you guys ever talk about money outside of that?
Yeah. So in our culture, the parents go make the money, you just eat, or like everybody, like one person supports like 15 people. But we're in America, things are different. Everybody has to work and bring their earnings. And with her, she didn't like that because I don't know if she didn't want to answer any questions about it. I think it's more of a taboo that you don't question your parents.
Yeah.
I'm bringing it. I'm working so hard. Just go with it.
So now that we know a little bit about your early years, let's talk a little bit more about your spending habits and any money lessons. So one of the things I want to ask you is, what is the purchase that you're most proud of?
One of the purchases that I'm really proud of, and I still have maintained it, is I bought a house for my mom. And it made me really sad because of, I gave a little background on our growing up in poverty.
Yeah.
She had a house in Afghanistan that had 14 bedrooms.
Wow.
And like 7 bathrooms, a yard full of like veggies. They used to grow their food and everything. And then she came here, got on low-income housing, things that she wasn't proud of, like because she was always a businesswoman. So one day I asked her, I was like, if there's one thing that you can have in your life, what would it be? She's like, a home of my own, a backyard where you can grow our own food that I can have. And I was like, okay. And at that time, we saved up some money. And then I asked her, I said, can I have that money? She didn't even question me.
She just took it.
She was like, here you go.
So this is money that she had saved over years.
She had saved up with her 90 cents. And I had saved up some, and I stopped spending for a long time. And I worked at another tech company before that. So
let's set a time frame here. Like, how old were you? How long ago was this? Let's give the viewers sort of an idea.
I was 25 years old.
Okay.
And I was the first one to make this move in my family to like do something for my mom. So I was working at a tech company, which I adore till this day.
Okay.
And they basically gave me this push to do this as well. She gave me the money, and I said, can I have it? She said, sure. And then I went and applied for a loan.
So do you mind telling us how much money this was?
It was around about $120K.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's not easy.
It's not easy. And she didn't even ask me a single question.
This is literally her life savings we're talking about.
More than her life savings.
Okay.
It was just, and I knew how much money meant to her, and she kept every nickel and dime. And at one point, I knew she was like collecting cans and supporting families back in Afghanistan.
Wow.
But we were okay at this time. Like, we all grew up, we all got jobs. So I went to a Wells Fargo branch. I was like, I like a loan. And she's like, that's nice, don't we all? I was like,
is it exactly what she said?
yeah, she's like, okay. I was like, I this is what I want to do, explain what my goal was.
So even before you stepped foot into this Wells Fargo bank, had you done your own research? Did you have an idea of like what it would be like?
I did. So I thought watching House Hunters was researching. But I learned some stuff, like the do's and don'ts, right? Where you should spend money, what you shouldn't spend money on. I read a whole bunch of stuff like on the market, interest rates, a fixed rate, an adjustable rate. The adjustable rate scared the crap out of me.
Don't worry, guys. Just stay tuned. Check out our videos. They're not that scary.
When I got her the house, we signed everything, and I told her towards the end, I'm like, here's your key. And she's like, for what? I'm like, do you remember that you went to see something with me? I was like, this is it. It's yours. She was crying. I was crying. We were just both on the floor. Until this day, the reason I wake up is, of course, my family and my daughter and my mom. But I wake up to make sure that mortgage payment's paid because I don't want to disappoint her in any way.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that story.
Thanks.
Okay, Medina. So now we're going to get into the fun stuff.
Yay.
So we're going to do a free word association, which basically I'm going to say a couple words to you, and you're going to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. And then we're going to do a little trivia.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So here I go. I'm going to say the first word. So a mortgage.
Payments.
What about payday?
Happy day.
Sally Mae.
Student loans.
Donation.
Giving back.
Okay. Money is made out of paper.
True.
It's false.
Oh.
Did you know that money is actually made out of cotton and linen?
Are you serious?
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure people have gotten so many valuable lessons and nuggets from your experience.
Thanks for doing this. I wish I had this when I was growing up.
Oh, don't we all?